Okay, Judy, can you just tell us a little bit about the tournament, the Aegon tournament here in Surbiton, and what it is for the fans to enjoy here?
Well, I think this level of tournament is really important, and obviously this is the time of the year for British clubs to really capitalise on drawing attention, I guess, to tennis. It gives the fans something to come in and watch, and because it's not one of the biggest tournaments, it's easier for fans to access. They can get very close to the courts and they can really engage not just with the game but with some of the players in particular. So it always has a lovely club feel to it, and of course club tennis is the bedrock of our game in this country.
And also it's a chance to see some of the stars of tomorrow. I mean, names in the past who've played have been, Tsonga and Nishikori.
I well remember Andy playing here one year as a teenager in the run up to Wimbledon, and playing an exhibition match here with Stricofan, the Thai player who was one of the top players in the world at the time. But wonderful experience for him to play in front of a crowd on grass, and match practice before Wimbledon on grass is what every player is looking for. So I think you'll find a lot of the stars of the future here. I already saw Stefan Kozlov here, one of the American teenagers who is one of my favourite up and coming players to look out for. So he'll be playing here this week. So plenty of stars of the future on display.
Now, obviously, you're heavily involved in British tennis, Fed Cup captain. We saw you out there earlier coaching some of the younger players, and you also have a little scheme here, the Miss Hits scheme. Can you tell us a little bit about that, please?
Well, I'm very passionate about trying to grow the women's side of the game, not just in terms of participants but in terms of female coaches. So we've had a big day today here. This morning we had 12 of Surrey, Sussex and Middlesex best little under 10 girls. Took them for a clinic and kind of doubled up as a female coach workshop. We had 24 female coaches here from around the local catchment, and 5 ex-female players here who are training to be mentors for our younger girl players. So a big day for the women. Important for us to grow the women's side of the workforce in order to grow the women's side of the game. And later on this afternoon we've got one of the local schools coming in, 30 girls from one of the local secondary schools, and a little bit later on than that we've got 16 mums coming with their 5 to 6 year old daughters to do a taster session of the Miss Hits programme. And Miss Hits is a fun starter programme for girls aged 5 to 8. It's based around 6 animated characters who are the Miss Hits, and Faith forehand, Bella backhand, Valentina volley. So each of them represents a tennis shot, and the idea is that the girls learn about tennis through the characters. So it involves dance, music, nail stickers, lots of skill building activity, lots of fun games. And it's a 12-week block that prepares girls for mini tennis, because in the girls' game, no matter what age group you're working with, the important thing is that they have a social group to go along with. They like to be with their friends, and it's one of the big reasons why little girls drop out of tennis is that there's too many boys. We're outnumbered by 4 to 1 from boys to girls. So we're trying to address that and create little girl social groups by having an all-girl tennis programme.
Well, I know you're very passionate about women in sport, and that sounds like a great scheme to sort of help them at a young age. It is quite a sort of solitary sport as well, sort of later on, so having that kind of social group dynamic must be a great thing.
Yeah, tennis is an individual sport, and that's not for everybody, especially girls. Though they tend to not be as physical or as robust or as competitive as boys at a young age. They like to do things in pairs or in teams. So we have to look at how we encourage them into our game, and also how we keep them in the game. And I think a lot of the retention of girls in sport is down to female coaches or female PE teachers, so we need to grow that side of it as well. And then we need to look at the type of competition that we put on for them, because it needs to be a bit more gentle, a lot more fun, and probably more team-based in order to help them to learn to love competing.
Now, it's obviously that time of year, the grass court season. It's obviously a very special time of year, particularly for British fans. And Andy, of course, coming off one of his best clay court seasons ever, I must fill him with so much confidence coming into a surface that he really enjoys.
Yeah, I think not so many of the top players in the world are comfortable on grass, simply because they have very little access to it. The grass season nowadays is really pretty short. We happen to be in a country where there are still quite a lot of grass courts around, and he's always enjoyed playing on grass, so I think that's a bonus. And he's been playing at Wimbledon since I think the first year that he played in the juniors was something like 2002. too when he played in the doubles, the junior doubles. So he's been playing in it for a long time, and of course the last few years have been very, very successful for him, and winning the title in 2013 was such a huge thing, not just for him but for the whole of British tennis. And he always looks forward to Wimbledon. He doesn't see the pressure of it as being anything other than a privilege, which I think is incredible, because I really feel the pressure. I feel really stressful about it, and I think the better that he's got, the more expectation, the more stressful I found it. But at the end of the day, he's the one that has to play, and I think he handles it incredibly well.
I mean, just talking about the clay season, because potentially a surface that is not his favourite, but he's probably had his best year ever, and now moving on to the grass, he must be so confident.
Well, he's had a very long winning streak on clay. I think he's always been able to play well on clay. Trained quite a lot on it when he was in Barcelona as a teenager, and he's one of the best movers in the game. But I think that the last few years, the problems that he had with his back were more highlighted on clay, where you have to rotate more and you have to put more work into it physically to get more out of the ball, and it's a higher bounce as well. And I think since he got the back problems sorted out and he's back in his best physical shape, he's showing what he can do on the surface. But winning gives you confidence, of course it does, and he'll be looking forward to getting back into the grass.
And just a little word about his coaching setup. Still not been confirmed whether Amelie's going to be with him for the duration of the summer. Jonas, does he bring something different if Amelie wasn't there to help in the coaching setup?
I think he's had a very successful partnership with Amelie, and he has Jonas coming in as to help out when Amelie isn't around. And of course Jonas was one of these players who really maxed out on what he had, very top of the game in singles and in doubles. So in terms of some of the things that Andy wants to add into his game around the net and around the serve, he's very well positioned to be able to help Andy with those things when Amelie isn't there.
And it'd be remiss of me not to ask about Jamie as well. He's had a good season quietly, winning in Brisbane earlier in the year, and obviously he's always enjoyed doubles as well at Wimbledon.
Yeah, it's a big tournament for Jamie as well. From when he's very small, he's been Wimbledon daft, and of course won the mixed doubles title there in 2007. And he'll be playing doubles with John Peers, who's been an Australian player he's been playing with for a couple of years. And they have a pretty good record together. And like all partnerships, it takes a while to get the best out of each other, but I think they're in a good place as well, and they're capable of doing something good at Wimbledon, I think.
And just a final question about British tennis in general at the moment. We're seeing a real strong youth coming through, particularly in the women's game as well, and a lot of sort of players getting to the peak of their rankings, breaking 200s, almost breaking 100s, breaking top 50s. What are your general thoughts about the strength of British tennis coming through at the moment?
I think there are some very promising players coming through. Kyle Edmund in particular, he's almost at the top 100 now. Great run in the French qualifying and winning around there in 5 sets at age 20 is good signs. Been performing very successfully on the challenger circuit, so it's a great opportunity this time of the year for him. Wild cards into the bigger events if he needs them, and the opportunity to take some scalps, because as I said before, less of the top players are comfortable on grass, so it's always a chance for our players to take some scalps and move very quickly up the rankings. It's an important time of the year to capitalise for the British players. And I think on the girls' side, Katie Swan, who's 16, who's from Bristol but based in America, she had a very good run at Australian Open Juniors in January, making the final, and has since won her first women's 10k tournament. So good signs there as well, but we need to have much more strength in depth, and I think that's the thing that we have to focus on, which is why I'm probably addressing more of my efforts now around participation and sharing everything that I've learned over 25 years of coaching with as many coaches as I can, because the more better coaches we have, the more better players we have. I think that kind of goes hand in hand.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Judy.
Pleasure.